can run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Go tell that long-tongued liar. Go and tell that midnight rider. Tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter. Tell him that God's gonna cut him down. Tell him that God's gonna cut him down. Well, my goodness gracious, let me tell you the news. My head's been wet with the midnight dew. I've been down on bended knee, talking to the man from Galilee. He spoke to me in a voice so sweet, I thought I heard the shuffle of angels. He called my name and my heart stood still when he said, John, go do my will. Go tell that long-tongued liar. Go and tell that midnight rider. Tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter. Tell him that God's gonna cut him down. Tell him that God's gonna cut him down. Throw you a rock, hide your hand, working in the dark against your fellow man. But as sure as God made black and white, what's done in the dark will be brought to the light. You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Go tell that long-tongued liar. Go and tell that midnight rider. Tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter.
We will be back in some form.
We have an army of digital soldiers, because this was an insurgency.
Hundreds dead, thousands infected across multiple continents.
You guys know what this represents?
All the people that have gone out there against the mainstream media and said, you're going to call us racist, you're going to call us potential Timothy McVeighs, you are.
What's up, Patriots? Welcome to the party. PatriotPartyNews.com. I'm your host, Chaz Carter, coming at you guys live. Yes, sir. Back again. Lots of things are going on, which obviously you guys, I'm sure, already know. Obviously, last night with what was going on with the attacks going on in Jerusalem, it has not stopped. And it's getting crazy, just like we knew it would. Okay. Got to lots of things we're going to cover today to keep you guys well informed. I almost went live again late last night. Didn't, because I didn't feel like it was significant enough. You would probably hear about it on the platform and whatnot. But it's added up to what we're about to talk about today. You know, anybody that lives in the South, okay, lives in the southern part, eastern of the United States and, you know, of America, from Georgia, Alabama, Florida, North Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama, okay. I know North Carolina's getting hit hard with this, the gas shortage. We just now heard, obviously, Georgia is having some significant things happening there, outages now confirmed. I know here in Tennessee, it's starting to happen. The gas prices are starting to climb pretty up there. now, and they're also pushing patrons away to different nearby main bigger stores or gas stations per se. So lots of things are happening as we speak, and of course, obviously, in combination with what's happening in the world. So I'm going to knock out some of this housekeeping real quick so everybody can see. This is our website, gang. That's right. We are all over YouTube. We are on several different channels, but you always come back to our site because that's where we stream from. Usually every time we do an internet show, we lose a channel, so we just add one, and we try to communicate with the best that we can during the BS censoring, okay, bottom line. But you'll see here, this is our website, thepatriotpartynews.com. Check it out. Get on our platform. It's free to sign up. You can go right here. If you want to go directly to it, it's patriotshute.com, and that is right here, right there in the ticker. So, how do we get started? Well, let's take a quick look because this is Jerusalem. We just got reports right now. Let's see here. This was at 11:08 p.m. So I guess this was last night. This came in. It's a 13-story building in Gaza that was a hiding place for terrorists. And the rockets is totally gone. So they totally took out. Yeah, look, there it is. Look live right now on the screen. Look at that, folks. Look at that. Holy, and this is live. This is live. Look at this. That's crazy. So we do have lots of people that we're in touch with, but there's somebody that is knocking on my door, and let's see. Hold up. Let's see here. Fan the flames. Fan the flames. Okay. All right.
I'm ready.
What's up?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Wow, that shit is just crazy. That is crazy. Man. No, keep that up, man. I want to be watching that too.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Today I'm wearing a white hat, Michael Jackson, and you know that currently right now there is the National Skateboarding Championships going on live on YouTube. So I was just watching that. Nice. And in this is my this young man that did this company. His father used to work for my father, and he was what we call a grom in the skateboard industry, and he went on to skate for a company called H Street, and he did amazing well. And then he started this t-shirt company, and now he's got a shoe company. And from that little kid who I gave a skateboard to what he did with that toy, you know, and then he gave me a bunch of these shirts, and I think this one's great. This is Michael Jackson doing a backside air, you know, and nice. People look at it and they're like, what is Michael Jackson doing? So, but yeah, this is crazy. So we were talking about that yesterday off air. The Patriot missile defense system is that what it is? Yes, that what it was?
Well, so, I believe so. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's actually we're watching it was called the Dome, right?
Yeah,
and we're watching the Dome actually do its job. But here's what's interesting, which probably a lot of people, well, I would say a majority of the people in your chat, that's Netanyahu attacking his own people to start a war so that America will come to its aid, and then we'll go to war against Russia and China.
Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Sound familiar?
I mean, what does your room know about the Khazarians?
I can't speak for everyone, but we would sure like to know what you're about to talk about, because we're learning stuff every single day. More people are getting awake. We're attracting individuals like yourself, like Mark Z, and we're starting to get now, hey, you know something we didn't know. Okay.
It's connecting the dots.
Yes.
Or lining up or having all the dominoes and going, wow, they just filled 4 dominoes so I can knock them down and watch it just fall apart. But you have to go back to 1193. And we spoke about this yesterday, is that the movie Highlander, the evil was a Carpathian, but really he was a Khazarian. And the Khazarians, when they would raid towns, they wouldn't just loot and pillage. They would then feast on the people that they just destroyed. And as Russia was growing, Prince Philip at the time commanded all of his knights, destroy every men, women, and children, destroy them all. Well, some of them got away and they put a cloak, and they they formed the form of Judaism. And the reason why they have formed a Judaism, because if you looked at the three religions at the time, Christianity, Muslim, and Judaism, it was easier for them because at that time, Judaism was on a religion that was on a downward spiral because of the bringing of Christianity and Muslim. There was more in the world as more and more Jews went away. And my best friend Mike is Jewish, and I learned from him and learn about all the different tribes and the different sects of the Jewish religion. And then you hear about the Zionists, and the Zionists are actually the Khazarians. They're not really Jews. They impersonated a Jew so they could escape persecution and go underground and do their rites and rituals and create the things that we see now, and you got to go all the way back to that. And then from there through time, you see how they've wormed their ways into royalty, how they worm their ways into the banking system. And then they started playing two sides against each other because that created more death, and they are a death cult. They thrive on death. It's just like the Mayans and the Incans who were death cults, but the Mayans at one point gained a greater reality and then just went peace out, and they left. They had such technology. You think about it, a society that builds its buildings in stone knows that they're going to be around for a long time, because my house, your house, all built of wood and stucco. And honestly, through the course of time, no matter how much maintenance you do on that wood house, bugs will destroy it. So, when you look at megalithic ruins, and that's getting into a whole different genre of knowledge that's been hidden from all of us, which, you and I, when we talk about the Khazarians and we look at what is happening, you have a leader that despises the people as people. He would rather treat them as cattle or sheep and keep them in fear and say, oh, have forces that are behind that proverbial invisible line that countries have with each other, and say, oh, that guy did it. And it's kind of like wag the dog, the wag the dog theory.
You're talking about
like that.
Like the act in the act of war. Yes.
Where you create the problem, and because you need to get the solution, and the solution is to take the rights away from people. 9/11.
That's what it all is. It comes down to being one huge, just a psyop. 100%.
And you're right on that, because you go back to the MK Ultra program that the Germans had, which it wasn't when MK Ultra, but when Operation Paperclip brought all those Nazis over here, they went, oh, cool, we can do this again. Let's give it a new name. And they really,
like the Majestic 12 kind of was born from the Ultra.
Yeah, the Majestic 12, was born to watch over those from Operation Paperclip, because if you know the history of the Q movement goes all the way back to the time of Lincoln. And Lincoln had that was his Secret Service, and the Pinkerton.
Was it because of Grant? Was the cabal? Was that the first president?
Because look, Grant was a useful idiot because he was a drunk.
Yeah.
And went out. They needed somebody to put in there that they could control, and they could easily control him. And that's the reason why the Organic Act of 1871 was created, and that is that act created the two forms of government, and it allowed the police to not be the police, not be peacekeepers, but become policy officers. Basically, your hall monitor. And we all went to school. We all know that those of lesser and I'm not going to be demeaning here, but those of lesser confidence use that to gain confidence over others that normally they wouldn't stand up to, much like today with the computer screen. I'm here in California and you're there where you're at, and I could type "suck a dick, bitch," and you could go, oh man, no, that's not happening. And then, but see, if you're smart enough, it's like the end of Jay and Silent Bob, where they got that list of everybody. Did you say this on poopshoot.com? Why, yes, I did. And then the beatdown comes down, because that is common decency, common manners. And the computer and what the television has done, it's destroyed the family. It's destroyed respect for each other. It's put, and it goes back to, like I was talking about yesterday, it puts that hyphen in front of American. And for me out here, it's, when you meet somebody, they always do that. And I'm like, why? Can't you just be happy with who you are, where you live? Oh, that's right. You've never lived outside this country. You've never taken a bus from Manila to Subic Bay, and you go over a river that is filled with human feces and maybe a dead carcass of an animal, and you throw 25 pesos into the water, which is equivalent to about 13 cents, and you watch 30 kids dive after that 25 pesos, because that 25 pesos means that's a meal for at least 4 people.
Yes.
You don't see that here in this country. And when you go, and more importantly, being a land where there's martial law that says you have to be off the street at a certain time, and if you don't, you will go to jail. And I was at the time we went to South Korea, my mom and I. It's a funny story. I hope my mom isn't listening. I was 16 years old, and we were out shopping, and I looked at the time and went, Mom, we got 10 minutes and there's no way we're making it back to the base. So we need to find a hotel. So we found this hotel, wasn't thinking about it, got a room. And through the course of the night, I heard the sound of men and women enjoying each other. And here I sit with my mom, and in the morning realized that to get off the street in a foreign land, my mom and I ducked inside a brothel, and still one of the funniest experiences of my life. But you don't have those experiences here. You don't see that, because our country is at such a level that everybody, no matter where you are and where you go in the world, when they meet you, 9 times out of 10, they're super happy to meet you, because they want to know about the opportunities that are in your land. How big is your country? I mean, California, for me to go from the border to the border is a 17-hour drive. That's like driving across Texas.
Right.
And we have 2 of those. And your country, your land is just a lot of rolling hills, just gorgeous. A lot of lakes and some rivers, and just this land is amazing. And to be able to actually go outside it, like I was just reading that Canada still has its borders clamped down with us. And yet,
look at this. They just got hit and the building's coming down.
Oh my God. I hope there's nobody in there.
Oh my God. Sorry, this is happening.
No, well, this is unfortunately, we know that in this war, it has now come to the surface where you're actually seeing it happen.
Yeah.
The one thing, we're not really, we should be watching the Straits of Taiwan, because the USS Theodore Roosevelt is sitting there with that carrier group, and they're basically guarding that little island of Formosa, or Taiwan, which is beautiful. I've been there. I played baseball there, played the 1978 Little League Taiwanese team, that they were the national champions, and they were in high school. And we played them, and that was a tough game. Those guys were amazing, but wow, they're just showing that over and over.
I know, man. It's nuts. Hey, I got a question for you. So what's your thoughts on the Three Gorges dams? Obviously we know what Q says, and of course the hints, from Trump saying, look at the water. And we know about the Suez Canal, that whole situation, and blocking all that up, and what they found, of course, in the containers as well. Humans.
Right. Was that kind of tricky?
Dead people, dead children, weapons of mass destruction. Okay. I mean, the worst.
Did you see that? Did you see that picture? Did you see the picture of all the small arms that they pulled out of there? It was amazing. I was like, there was
wow, really
150. I counted easily 150 sniper rifles. The really big, the 50 caliber sniper rifles. And I was like, whoa. And the RPGs, wow, I just had a bird just dive bomb me. Yeah, it was crazy what came. And just think, that's one ship, one that's been going through there for how long have they been doing this shit? I mean, Benghazi.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Three Gorges Dam. I know that underneath it, that's the largest adrenochrome factory on the planet Earth.
Hidden by Bitcoin, right? That's
Yeah, I mean, let's be realistic. What is
right.
Bitcoin? That is a baby trading coin, BTC.
Yeah.
When people find out that that coin was derived to buy and sell babies, you're gonna see Bitcoin just go, and we know, you and I both know that's coming.
Yep.
Because that EV.
Well, that's what everyone was saying when this Chinese rocket was coming down. It was like, oh, this is what they're trying to think it's going to, all of a sudden magically hit the Three Gorges dams, and then here comes the flood.
Okay.
And whatever.
So I was on a I have a channel that there's a forum that I go to, and it's about galactic, and somebody did something and it was really trippy. Do you know the Space Force logo has two circles that intersect, and the intersect
looks like Star Trek.
Yeah, but the two circles, they intersect on one point on the map. Okay. They come together on one point. And do you know where that one point is?
What?
Roswell, New Mexico.
Ooh.
That Chinese ship, if you watch its elliptical orbit, it did that same thing on the Space Force. Now, if you had paid attention 2 days, the day that it launched, the United States went, we didn't do that. We have the technology, but we didn't do that, right?
Right.
Remember, we're watching a movie. Just like the container ship drawing the phallic symbol going before it went into the birthing canal to show you that there were babies on board. I mean, let's talk about comms. You now have them going, well, we're going to control your ship and make it do the same thing, just like the Space Force logo. And I'm reading this thing and I'm like, oh my God, that is some serious deep coding there that they put into that. And right. And where did it crash? Do you know where in the ocean it crashed off of?
Didn't they say Indian Ocean right off of Australia? Is that accurate?
No, it crashed in the region of Guam, right off. It crashed right off of Guam. And what's at Guam? Do you know what's stationed in Guam, but military wise?
Off the top of my head, a lot.
Okay, in Guam, you have two B-52 squadrons that are based there. You have a large naval base, and that naval base has a lot of minesweepers and a lot of subs in it. Wow. So there was technology on there that our nation probably wanted to get their hands on, because as well as I do, we've had a lot of Chinese spies. I mean, shit, Eric Spellwell's been screwing Fin or whatever her name is, and that guy's not arrested. Right. I'm sorry, you screwed a spy. She is an affirmed spy. You're still in power, and she's free. What world do I live in? I live in the mirror universe of the reality of which I should be living in, where this shit that's happening here on the screen, where good, innocent people are being terrified. Yeah. But you know what it does? And we talk about the spiritual. So when you're terrified, you put out these hormones, which is called loosh. Do you know it? Have you ever heard that?
Somebody else was talking about that, but I didn't know the name, and they said start with the L, but you nailed it. One more time? Loosh?
Loosh, Loosh. And what that is that, when you're young, your parents tell you not to speak evil words, and don't speak ill of people, because that creates loosh. And then people that are manic depressant or schizophrenic, they create a lot of it because their mind is not focused, and it's all this anger that's coming out of them, and it creates this energy. And supernatural beings like demons and lower demons and of such, that is their food. That's why they attach themselves to those that are mentally ill or those that are angry. Like you see a lot of movies where this kid who was a hall monitor and everybody beat this kid, and now he's an adult, he has a gun, and now he's going to get
power. He's going to have revenge and take
and all that loosh, that invisible energy that it creates, attracts all of these negative forces. It's just like when you live a pious life and you do things like we talk about. The RV is the humanitarian. It is from the divine. He is
Yes.
resetting the world, just like when Jesus knocked over the money changers at the temple, saying, "How could you do this? How could you make money off of them just trying to give offerings to God, no matter what it was?" But still, that's what we're going through. And the pipeline, like you and I were talking offline, the Colonial Pipeline.
Yes.
I mean, I read today that you guys had a 45% loss overnight of your gas and your oil.
Yes.
And I looked at it, and it ran right through where you're at and a bunch of other people. I mean, that's like that Bible Belt area.
Yep.
And, I said to you offline that gas today, this morning, is $4.99 for regular, just regular. Super unleaded is at $5.10. It's like, when are the people here going to wake up and you need a car here? You have to have a car, because the bus system is forever not on time, and it's forever slow. But yeah,
and crush it. Yeah, absolutely.
And I see now, your area that's going up, and then when you see this, what is the repercussion? Like we talked about yesterday, if the ships at sea, if all of that goes down, how long before it reaches the trucking companies?
Right.
And how long before the trucking companies don't have diesel fuel?
I think it's a matter of days. Spectre, I'm telling you, I think it's going to be a matter of days. And what was this originally designed? All of this with the COVID, all this with that, with the vaccine, obviously population control, but there's that word again, control. Okay.
Yeah.
So
exactly,
they're wanting people to not go out. They want people to stay home. And then when mainstream media gets cut, then you're relying on your cell phone, or relying on getting information, like maybe someone like yourself or me or any of the like Mark Zini of the Patriots out there that are trying their best to deliver the truth. See,
well, and that's the thing. This platform that you have, you're old enough to remember when AM was on the downslide and FM started taking up, right?
Right.
And what happened was, when Clinton deregulated radio, I was in at that time. You can only own 2 radio stations and a TV station. That's it. You could not own any more, because the thought was you were stopping the free speech from happening. Okay, so radio gets deregulated. Okay, I'm here in San Diego at that time. Let's see who I was working for. I was working for KFSD at the time, and I was actually talking to KGB, the major rock station, about doing afternoons for them. And then then it got deregulated, and I swear, within 1 month, Clear Channel came in and bought up 28 stations.
Wow.
And those 20, and then the guy that I used to do mornings with on KCEO, we were a morning team. He became the vice president of marketing at Clear Channel. So he marketed for 28 stations, and he goes, "Why don't you come work for me?" And I go, "You can kiss my ass. I am never working for corporate." I already worked. At that time, I'd already worked for corporate. I worked for ABC and ESPN, and I was like, no, I want nothing of that culture. I just want to relax and do my thing and play music, just like I did in the cafeteria at Kubasaki High in Japan. And that's why I got into it. It was for the love of music, because these things are not musical. I have no idea, but they're not. And I love music. And that was my way of saying, okay, I mean, you can ask me lots of musical questions. I guarantee you my knowledge is pretty deep about music. The things that the two things I never did hip hop, and I never did country. I did top 40 and almost put a gun to my head, because top 40 is 4 hours of hearing the same song 8 times, just a little much. And if it's, Beyonce or Britney Spears, that bubblegum pop that is just 4 chords that just drivel, I would listen to, me preferably. I like a King Crimson, Canned Heat, Cream, a lot of the old music where you actually had musicians that put
Rolling Stones.
Yeah, the Rolling Stones. Oh, okay. let's you just went into a rabbit hole. Let's talk about the Stones and the Beatles and who they really were and who they really worked for. Nobody knows that all of them worked for MI6. And when Paul died, Paul's death was because Paul and John were having major arguments about continuously working for MI6, because Paul felt that his musical integrity and his artistry was being demolished by these agents of the British government who were trying to find out if they could, and we said this earlier, control people.
Right.
You had little girls that were having orgasms for the first time because of these musicians. I mean, yes, they were beautiful men at the time. You had never seen that. You had come out of a world war where people were shell shocked. And our nation, we went into the whole, we went moral overboard after World War II. And because of that, I mean, I'm a child of the 60s. I remember that my dad didn't let me grow my hair long until I was 15 years old. And then if you look at my freshman year photograph to my sophomore year photograph, I went from high and tight to having a Larry Bertelman afro with puka shells and the afro pick in the back, because I lived in Okinawa, which was Japan's version of Hawaii, and you lived in that environment. You were in the water, you were surfing, you were skateboarding, you were doing all the sports. That's what you did in the early 70s. So to see what has happened in our nation, to see what's happening around the world, yeah, there's a lot of fear mongering going on. Unfortunately, these visions that we're watching are quite real.
Yep.
Innocent people are being hurt because, again, the person doing this doesn't give a shit about you. All he's concerned about is his power and how much money that he makes, because money is their god.
Right.
And everything that they do is a mirror of what you and I live by, and everybody that's in this chat room. Having had cancer 3 times and laying there on that bed, and I'll never forget the last time I had it. Right as I woke up the morning of my operation, and before they gave me any drugs, my father had been passed away for quite a while. And there he was. And I swear my hand on the Bible to his spirit. He was standing there, and it was the 40-year-old version of him smoking a cigarette in his uniform, just going, "You got this." And the next thing I knew, I was out. I had the operation. I woke up, and there was a man holding my hand. And that man was one of the friars from the Mission San Luis Rey, who's told me that he woke up, he had a vision of my face in the hospital.
Wow.
And he came to the hospital, and he said he went through 3 floors before he found me. And I woke up and I'm like, okay, God, what are you doing? First you showed me my old man telling me I got this. And then I've got a friar that came from the church who had a vision about me. Okay, yeah, I know I'm a blessed individual. I've been through mad shit. And
sure,
something that is very American is that if you fall down, you're falling down forward. You get up, you're going forward. But this media and all of this crap says, if you fall down, take these drugs, and you're going to take a long time, and then you need to file this paperwork to get this money. It's like the new stimulus that we're supposed to come in July. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, where are you?
I'll be real with you. This is all a means to an end. We're at the end of the movie, and I truly believe that. Well, you see it on the screen. We're talking about gas shortages, okay? And if you see me before, Victor, I've got a board over here, okay? And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 checkoffs that I can check off, meaning here we are. It's in effect, right? So now I think I told everyone I had 3 before. Now with the gas shortages and now what we're seeing here, there only needs to be 1 more check, and it's on and popping. And it's going to be something that no one has ever seen before. And
I agree with you. It was something you and Mark were talking about because I rewatched that,
Mhm.
and Mark talked about it this morning during his show. It's like what we're going through in the 325 years, if you believe that, or the 2 million years we've been on this planet.
Mhm.
Nothing like this has ever been tried. Well, it's been tried, but it's failed. But I mean, I think now they're actually winning. I watch the military and I see the morale of the military, and even with Trump in office, oh, that's a bummer. Even with Trump in office but being hidden,
Oh,
I think the
wow.
morale of our military is still amazing.
Look, it's getting hit. We got people in North Carolina,
I see
Tennessee,
that.
talking about the situation, guys. Hey, if you are affected by what's going on with the gas shortage, would you mind commenting and let me know, or letting the audience know what area?
Yeah,
So
it builds a map. It builds a map for you and I, so that when we
yeah,
go to research and dig, we can go, oh, I saw this because of the group. Let me go in here and see what's really causing that. Did they
yeah.
shut down a refinery? Like, they're famous for shutting down refineries so they can drive the price up.
So they're
Yeah,
still
no
good in
doubt.
Texas. So Texas,
Texas,
yeah, they're going to
Texas
be
is
pretty
going to be
strong.
good.
Texas is what got oil refineries around the coast, though, right? Is
And
that
the
correct?
building, I was blown away on the amount of building that is going on in Texas. It reminded me of California in the late 70s and the early 80s, the housing boom that happened. I mean, I was just like,
Wow,
everywhere I go, I
Florida.
kept seeing,
Oh my goodness, look at this. Went to
wow.
31 gas stations in Pensacola, Florida, and they all were out of gas. Holy smokes. That's serious right there. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought that was kind of killer.
No, it's all good. I agree with you. Look, to me, I'm out here on the crazy West Coast, behind enemy lines, and I'm one of those states where the governor he's lost his mind.
Yeah.
And again, we go back to, he really hasn't lost his mind. It's the alliance making him look like he's lost his mind to wake people up. And it was like the story yesterday, going to the Ford dealership and those four salesmen going, yeah, we voted for Trump. And it's like, say you voted for Trump. That's the whole point. And this medium that we go back to, like we were talking earlier,
Right.
is just in the beginning stages.
Yep.
Because do you know, have you watched any of the beta links on YouTube of Starlink, the people that are in the upper reaches of Canada, where it's like
No,
one,
but I need to. And you're the third person to tell me something about that. I haven't yet because I've been slammed, but please, I would
yeah,
love.
there's a gal, they live up in the upper, like she was saying like the nearest person is like 80 miles away from them in any direction. They are like in the middle of nowhere. They're two artists that are using the earth, and they're creating all these things with earth. And they were showing what their internet speed was, and it was like just pegging zero. And it was just sitting there. And then they hooked up Starlink, and this thing is just fully just maxed out on both upload and download. So I reached out to my little sister. I said, hey, who do you know at Starlink? I want to get some information. Got a name, and was doing some reading about the Starlink. Do you know when they turn that on, there's two things are going to happen? Well, you have three things. One, you had the government 2 weeks ago saying how many IP addresses did they buy?
I
Right?
don't know how many. I don't know how many,
It
but
was
it's a lot.
like 2.2 billion
Yeah.
IP addresses they
Yeah,
bought,
it
right?
was insane. I heard something about that. Yes.
Okay, why did they buy all of those IP addresses?
No question. It would have to be to have individual
It's
lines of communication.
no, it's operating system. Okay, for the longest time, Bluetooth was not an 803C. Bluetooth was a 503. The Bluetooth that every device uses now is an 803.1C. That's the software technology. Okay, the internet right now. I will tell you, in 1974 at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, as a child, I saw my neighbor, Captain Smith, who was G2 Army, pull out this box about this big, and it had the old telephone receiver that had suction cups for the
Yeah.
receive and send.
Yeah. To put the phone in it.
Yeah, you put the phone in the suction cup, right?
Yep.
And he pulls out a keyboard and he goes, "Watch, I'm going to play football with the computer on the base through the internet." And I'm like, "What's that?" And he goes, "Well, it just sends a signal through the phone lines."
Like an old movie called War Games. Remember that?
Yeah, this was well before that, but it's the same thing.
Absolutely.
And so that at that time it was called the intranet. They still have that. That's the military internet that moves at lightning speed. Now, the internet that we have right now, the tech oligarchs, because of what Bill Gates and Microsoft and how they created the net, they created the dark portal. There's a lot of creepy places on the net that you don't know and you really don't want to go to, but they've also put roadblocks in place. They've slowed the net down, right, so that they could make money off of slow. Well, if you want the T1 internet speed, then it's going to cost you $1,000 a month. And as a gamer, I remember playing on a modem, and then I went to cable, and then I played on T1, and that was amazing. You know, and that's all because these guys, they want you to pay in increments. They want you to pay for everything. So when we talk Starlink, Starlink is the moving from 503 to 803 as like a Bluetooth, and all of those IP addresses for our channel, that'll automatically get upgraded because of that. You'll get this new IP address, and the internet is going to move 7,500 times faster than what it's currently doing. And in that, these devices, you won't need Verizon and T-Mobile and Sprint anymore, because just like with Telegram and Signal and WhatsApp, they're all Wi-Fi programs. And in this new internet, it provides free Wi-Fi for the entire world. When you look at the three levels that they're doing, the first level is the quantum financial system. That's the one that's 55 miles above the landmass. And that coincides with the Black Knight. Have you ever seen that satellite that's been sitting there? We became aware of it in the late 50s, called the Black Knight.
Is it just space trash? Is that really what it is?
No, that's the computer system for the quantum physics system. That's the AI for the entire system that they brought here and just set it there and go, it's going to come into play. We're just not right yet. And people have been wondering what that is, but that is coinciding with the Starlink system on the first level. The second level, which they just launched, I think it's tomorrow, they're launching 60 more satellites, which complete the second level of satellites that encompass the world at 88 miles. That's your new Wi-Fi power. That's your new Wi-Fi for your phones. That's the new internet. And then the last one that they're going to put up is 115 to 120 miles, and it's going to be another 180 satellites, and that's going to provide protection on the Earth from those that would cause us harm. Those that have subjugated us for 12,500 years when they caused the destruction of Atlantis. I mean, you're going back into the knowledge that not a lot of people are aware about. You've got to really do years and years and years of digging and put all these dots together. And I'm a huge fan of history. My grandfather, when I was a little kid, the first time I was in the hospital, he gave me a dictionary and said that every word that's in here creates what you live, what you make, what you breathe. And if you know these words, and that's when I became one of the reasons why I became a DJ, because radio is theater of the mind. And if you have the right words, you can create an image in one person's mind that it could be joy, it could be horror, it could be thriller, it could be all of those things. I mean, you look at the radio back in the golden age when you had the Phantom and you had, I'm sorry, Melissa, I hope you get some gas. And you have all of those different radio shows where they used Foley effects to create that for when you were sitting on your farm and it was lights out and there wasn't much to do. The radio provided you the radio drama, and that's how I was opposed to it. And then then my uncle got me a ham radio license, and when I came back from Japan the second time, the amount of people that I could connect with, and because we were living in San Francisco, I can't tell you how many people would knock on our door and go, "Oh, I'm so and so, and this is my call sign, and you said if I was ever in San Francisco," and we're like, "Cool, let's go out." We took him out to dinner and show him our home, and and as the years went by,
awesome.
I had theirs, and I would do that, do that on the road too. That and I don't know if you noticed, but there has been a big upswing in the amount of ham radio licenses that have been applied for, and the amount of ham radio towers. I can tell you, in my area, I've seen at least 9 new towers go up. Wow. So you're seeing individuals going, "Fuck mainstream. I'm going to go talk to somebody," like the conversation you and I are having with everybody in the chat room. Right. But when you see that, it's like, why are we seeing this? Because people are
they feel betrayed. Hey, let's be honest. They feel flipping betrayed because of, people that we trusted for years, and corporations that really truly has controlled us for years, has lied to us for years. Some of us have woke up early. Some of us were already awake coming into the party. But regardless, we're all here. And it's happening, and it's more prevalent because it's getting to a point to where you look at mainstream media and what they're reporting on, and you're like, is this really happening? Are they really reporting?
Well, you got Project Veritas, who are
yes. Oh,
you have a Breitbart apprentice, and like apprenticeship has been lost in this country. I mean, it truly has. There is a great thing for somebody like, take me for instance. I'm getting ready to start a new business with a bunch of friends of mine here in California, and the amount of money that we raised, I can do everything at 5-star, no problem. But there are, and I've run several businesses and I've had employees, but at the scale we're going to do it, I'm a fish out of water. And Mike's father, who's run a Fortune 500 company, who we almost lost this past week, he took the jab at a Buffalo hospital, and an hour later suffers a massive stroke and his kidney shut down. And thankfully to God that they moved him over to Beth Israel, and yesterday he got released from the hospital after 2 days of being there. Everything's good, but it just goes to show that certain hospitals are not hospitals. They're that house that's got graffiti on it down the street that the gangbangers are using as a crack house. That's the same ass thing. I mean, commercials. I mean, I remember, and probably a lot of you remember, when you had Cuddy Shark and Seagram 7 on television running ads. Yes. And then one day it stopped, and alcohol sales went down for a long, long time. And then we had cigarettes. Cigarettes were the next thing.
Marlboro Man.
Yeah, I mean, great guy. Guy with a great ad campaign. But cigarettes stopped. Now, to fill the void of alcohol and cigarettes, it's take Laresta. It'll do all this thing, and it'll do away with your rosacea. You can still eat all the foods that you're eating and still continue the bullshit life that you're living. And all of that is because of the reaction of all the foods that you're eating. But we're not going to tell you that. But take this and we'll do this way. Oh, but if you take this, your ass may leak during the day and you might have a heart attack. You may die. But you know what? Your rosacea is going to be gone. And you can still eat those McDonald's burgers that have human flesh in them. But we're not going to tell you that either. There's so many lies that marketing companies tell you. I mean, look, I was on the marketing end. And when I look at politicians and I see the spin that goes on, there's some amazing marketeers out there that know how to hide shit. And when they did away with the Schuster-McNair act on television to be able to do propaganda, the marketeer became, the guy that made sure that all the evil shit you did, nobody ever found about it. And if they did, they make a joke about it. Tom Hanks. Perfect example. We know what a lech that guy was. Yeah. And I will say was. I dare you to go, you type in Saturday Night Live, and there's a Halloween bit where he's with 2 skeletons, and they're going in this elevator up, and it's the elevator of hell. There are so many truths about Tom Hanks in that video. The two skeletons are to represent the children that he's killed through the years, and the two skeletons give numerous acronyms of things that he has done to them. But it's all done in fun because Tom Hanks is a really good guy because he's in Toy Story and he's in this and he's in that. They crafted the brand of the actor named Tom Hanks, even though the real Tom Hanks, the Lech, has all of these people making sure that they never find out about his shit. Oprah's another one. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And then you see the pictures. I mean, I've seen them and they make me cry, man. They make me tear up when I see those pictures of what those young men and women are saving those children. And when people find out, Hillary was right. When they find out, those people will never, ever be able to walk the streets. And we will. Is that live right now? Those rockets that are firing?
I believe so. It's happening because that's what we're seeing right now.
Wow.
Let me see what it's saying here. I think I got the volume off. Hang on.
Yeah, no worries.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, because that alert sign just popped up there on the bottom screen.
Oh yeah.
This is the chat to the room. Hello, everybody. I can't see the chat on my end, so it's all good.
You should be able to the right. Hang on, let me reduce that now. So right now, look at that up top in that you'll see. Look at that. I think that's to intercept the missiles coming in. I think I call it Iron Drone. It's Iron Drones is what it is.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Because it was the dome is the Russian version of that.
Yes, correct. Yes, sir.
That's the one. You know that do you know how much Russia is they are if not more of a Christian nation than we are. Do you realize that? Have you really watched
that?
Russian
I believe
television?
that. I mean, I wouldn't have believed that maybe back in the Red Dawn days, but now
Wolverines.
Yes, right. I know. I'm waiting for them to come to skies and airline carriers, to come in.
You and I would have been in those camps that the Wolverines' parents were in.
Oh,
those were the FEMA camps. I mean, I remember when Jade Helm happened. Okay, Jade.
Wow.
There was a bunch of Marines. They were getting ready. I'm like, what's going on? And they go, yeah, there's an operation called Jade Helm, and it's this. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not an operation because one, the military is not allowed to do operations on our soil.
Wow.
They can only do it on the base. They don't get to go to Barstow, California, or Tecate, California, and go do that, or go out to Arizona. I mean, Jade Helm was huge. And Jade Helm was actually, what they were doing in Jade Helm is they were looking for weapons that the cartel had stashed all over the place. They had arrested a lot of low-level cabal agents. They were trying to get information because at that time, that Trump wasn't in office yet. They were still trying to get Trump to, I mean, it literally took them, from what I understand, it took them 14 months. And the thing that did it was one of the underground bases and the children. That, from my understanding, that was the moment that he just went, I'm in.
They're saying a direct hit on a residential building in Tel Aviv. Direct.
Why aren't they attacking? That's what blows me away. If you're gonna do this, attack the military.
Well, that's what you were discussing earlier, that this is a setup to draw us into war. It's like a trap, more or less. And then get us distracted and fear and everything else.
And think about how much of that supernatural lush is being created in that region by all of this fear that's going on.
Do you know what the DEFCON level is right now, by chance? Do you have?
For us, I thought we were still at 3.
Okay.
I had heard we were still at 3. The last time I looked, we were at 3. Yeah, it hasn't moved.
They're saying it might have moved now. All these people, I'm seeing people commenting. They said, do you think we're closer to DEFCON 1?
No. When you go to
DEFCON, baby, that means like running.
DEFCON 2, when we go to 2, Camp Pendleton will shut. And when I mean shut, unless you have a green military ID card or a brown civilian military ID card, those are the only two that are getting on the base. If you as are a civilian and you work on the base, go home, homie, because you're not allowed here. I mean, that you've ever lived on a military base, when two hit, it is lockdown. And as a civilian, I've been under two in Korea, I've been under two in Okinawa and in Guam, and it is not a fun thing. I mean, at a military base, that's when look, in the military, it's black or white. There is no gray area. In life, the gray area is huge. But what we're seeing is the gray area being wiped away so that the black and white can take over. Right. And this movie that we're all watching, and yes, there will be destruction. And yes, good people will die, and I will pray for their souls. And I can't say it's better, but what if our military decided, you know what, we're going to make it a land war like World War I and World War II, and they learned their lessons from that, of all the collateral damage that occurred. I mean, look how long it took to rebuild Europe. You realize that when they made marijuana illegal was right as they were rebuilding Europe. Do you realize how much business Tennessee lost that used to be one of the biggest growers of industrial hemp? How much business the state lost when they went, oh, it's illegal, that all of those farmers were looking to help rebuild Europe, right? And they used all of their corporations to enrich themselves. Yep. You know, that World War II is not what we think it was. World War II was about control. It was it originally started because they wanted Hitler to do his thing because he was one of the royal bloodlines, and they didn't realize that the dude was a manic depressive that didn't take his drugs, and he saw things that you normally don't see, and so they cut him off. They put an embargo around him, and he had some amazing scientists before they went on the let's go trip on the evil side. I mean, the original Nazis, when you do your reading about them, all of this brown shirt, it was only in certain areas. And you see here in America, the brown shirt Antifa is only in certain areas: Portland, Seattle, maybe Los Angeles. But they make it larger than it is because the media has that ability to ramp something up that which is small is larger than it appears. Like me, I'm 6'4". When I stand next to a Tom Cruise, I tower over him because Tom Cruise is only 5'8". But yet television makes Tom Cruise look like this big hulking guy. The dude never should have played Jack Richter in the Jack Richter movies. Because if you read that book, Jack Richter was a blonde, blue-eyed hulk of a Navy SEAL at 6'4" and 280 pounds. I mean, that was a great book series, the Jack Richter. But that's what I'm saying. The illusion that which is really big is really small. Like the Democratic Party is only about 20% in this country, but because they have the megaphone, they beat everybody down to make everybody think that they're larger than they truly are. Because like all communists, and let's call them for what they are, like all communists, they use fear tactics. They use overpowering tactics, but
that's like one-on-one for them. it's
Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals. I mean, if you've ever written that or what is it, the Anarchist Cookbook?
Yes,
not many people know about that book, but that book was I remember that flying around in the 80s and reading that and going, holy shit, I cannot believe that there's a book like this that exists that is just freely floating around. I can't tell you how many parties I would go to, and it would just be sitting on the table as a coffee book table. But you could see how the erosion from the overexpansion of morals in the 50s, and then when circling back to the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, and how the MI6 and the British, who knew that they had America because of the Organic Act of 1871, and knew that they could make a shit ton of money off of these two bands in the United States by controlling people and then manipulating the record system, manipulating the Armatron system, so to put them number one for weeks on end, when reality was there was a lot better songs at the time than those guys. But that's that whole marketing machine that's just grinding everything in front of its path. Kind of like, I remember when Walmart first started in the 70s, that they were the Coke, they were the Pepsi to the Coke to Kmart.
Right.
Remember, because Kmart was the big mart, and then Walmart started coming in, and I remember Walmart being really small, but Walmart, and having done business with Walmart, I don't wish that upon anybody trying to do business with that company. They are, you will go through, you think dealing with the government in forms is fun. That is a nightmare, because you could fail something and your whole product will go back 12 steps. But Walmart, you think about when Walmart comes into a community, how many businesses, the small businesses, does it destroy?
Oh man, all of them. They cannot compete with the pricing structure that a Walmart has designed themselves.
Exactly.
I mean, they actually had turned into, the rebranding or the manufacturing side. Because when you see Sam's Choice, you see all these that have been packaged under their label. But you know what? All they did was cut a deal with the manufacturer. That's all they did.
Yeah, like great value. It's just white label, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. Well, what is white labeling? A manufacturer makes a product, and like mac and cheese.
Yes.
How many versions of mac and cheese, of the real mac and cheese, is there that tastes just like it? Well, that's because they go, well, we'll just rebrand it under this, and we'll rebrand it onto this, and we'll just keep making money off of our recipe. And it's like the skateboarding industry. In the skateboarding industry, when I was a kid, I thought that every skateboard company made their own boards. Boy, I was sadly mistaken when I got to the realization that at that time, there were only 6 companies that made skateboards for the entire world.
Wow.
And then, now we're at a point where you look at import exports. Remember when Canada gave that Hawaii spy to America?
Vaguely remember that.
That vice president. Here's what China did that Americans didn't see, that affected the American skateboard market. So China said, Canada, your hard rock maple, not coming into our country ever again. They stopped the import of hard rock maple, which all of the skateboard companies in America were buying all of their skateboard made in China. They can have it made, sanded down, cut, ready to go, and shipped for cheaper than if they were to have a company here in California make. Like by $8 cheaper, right?
That's insane.
So my one friend who's in the business, I'm talking to him one day, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm being told it's 16 weeks before I get skateboards." Now, this guy's company has contracts with Walmart, Big Five.
Huge explosion, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah, I saw that. He had all of these big contracts, and now, like the Suez Canal ship, because of what we did, the repercussions of that affected the American skateboard market. But I find what's interesting, where I live, this is Mecca for skateboarding. Okay. All of the professionals come from here. Everything you see in the mags is from this area. And recently I've had 4 friends start up companies. Yeah, right. It is really just going off. Startup companies in the last 2 months, and they're doing so much business that they're hiring nonstop because of the repercussions of what happened over that spy and how it affected the skateboard market. It's truly funny that a spy could affect a toy that's made in China that now has to be remade in America. And I think that's great. I think moving our manufacturing back here and employing our people instead of going, well, all we are is just a tech and entertainment company now, and that's all we're going to produce. And any food that we may have been growing in Central California, wow, that thing is out of control.
I know. It's getting worse.
So what is that? Was that a gas station that it hit? It looks like it.
It looks like it was right there on the corner. It was a direct hit. It took out a whole block, whatever it was. And it could be the remnants of where they blocked the actual missile when it came crashing down. That could be one possibility. But, man, they are getting bombarded right now. If you look at the right-hand side, not the bottom, but right above that other picture that's above the fire right there, right underneath Gaza, right there, you're about to see Another string. Here we go. Knew it. It was going to pop in because of what's going on. So they know where stuff is falling down, and that's why they're
isn't that funny that they know where the missiles are going to fall, just like the Capitol building on the 6th of January. Yeah, they like why were photographers in there before the rioters were in there? Why don't we ask those questions? So this big photo here, the one that says Jerusalem Director Road, isn't that the first temple wall, the Temple Mount wall?
So yeah, because I think that is set as a target from the opposing, which is I think Hamas, isn't that right? Hamas has claimed responsibility. It'll pop up. There's another ticker that will tell you that, but I'm pretty confident that's what's happened. And I wonder, they got these cameras just like this camera down here. I wonder they got on that Great Wall because that's a target. And imagine it's just sitting here talking, all of a sudden, kaboom,
right? But again, it goes back to why do these cameras have these abilities to know where they're coming in? I mean, it's war.
I agree.
So if that's true, then it's really not war. It's a script that is being followed.
Yes.
That, in it, yes, we know because, right. Let's talk about the NSA and that facility in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
That makes an Elon Musk Tesla building look small. That
really?
Building. Yeah, like in the sniffer, all the sniffer planes that we have that, send that information to there. And like our conversation right now, and everybody in the chat is going to that computer. I mean, the NSA knows everything. They know what's going on in our phones and their phones. And you combine that with Project Looking Glass, you can know right where to be able to say, I need the camera to go here because I know it's going to destroy this building. And hopefully they know that there's nobody.
I think another bomb just took out that camera crew in the up top right corner. It's blank now, and there was an explosion and it went off.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Smoke. Did you just see that?
That's saw
crazy.
That. And that goes back to what we were just talking about.
I know. Exactly.
How do they know?
This is crazy. Now, Cabal, let's talk about the Cabal for a second. Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Because I think we all can agree, this what we're watching here on the screen, it's totally the Cabal trying to run this play, to draw us in. And it's a mixed bag of all these people that are involved with them. I mean, people that are.
Did you hear the number? Did you hear? I was reading this thing a couple days ago, and they were talking about the number of human beings that are involved in the Cabal. First off, there's 7 billion people on this planet, right? And of those 7 billion, the 1% of that are uber wealthy is 11 million people. Okay. Now, of that 1%, they were saying that are involved with all the sex trafficking and pedo and all of that crap. Right. Of that 1%, there's 1% of that. So that's 1.1 million individuals that are trying to take out 7 billion people. Now, those 1.1 million people with all the money that they have, and you think of the whole, the tree like Ancestry.com and the tree of the people that work under them, just that one person, you're looking at 12 to 15 million people worldwide that are involved in this. Now, you've got five major prisons on the planet, and you've got a super prison that's based on the moon. And that one holds 15,000. But
the one on the moon does 15,000?
Yeah, only 15,000. It was the Germans that actually built that. And then when they left it, we during Operation Paperclip, we found out about it and we took that over. So yeah, that whole moon, that there's so much truth that nobody realized. When I research the moon, it makes I'm constantly picking my jaw up.
Yeah,
I mean, why does NASA?
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's hollow. It's really a metal. Isn't it like aluminum?
It's a satellite.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a satellite that was put in a geosynchronous orbit by the Galactic Light Federation to watch over the Draconians' movements because they were at war with the Draconians. Just like the Black Knight satellite was put there because it operates at a certain signal that keeps the Draconians underground. There's a Doctor Who season 11, and it explains who they are. And that's in that Doctor Who is a. I tell you, I've been watching Doctor Who for a long
I remember the
time.
original Doctor Who back in the day.
My best friend in Hawaii looks exactly like the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker. I mean, in high school, I'm like, dude, you look just like he's got the nose and the hair and everything. And
man, look at this on the screen, bro. Look at this shit. Look.
See, I was right. That is
they are just going to town, man, blowing up stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, this is a foreign local. I guess Israel television station that has the live cam set up now. So this is their actual feed coming out, and this is what's happening over there, folks.
But here's what this. You notice that this is on a loop, right? Mm-hmm. Have you noticed that?
Parts of it's on a loop. The ones to the left was probably live, but this is what.
Well, no, this one was live. Because we saw the explosion, but since the camera above it went dark,
they were showing something had not been hit, and then we were talking about that. It's kind of ironic. All of a sudden,
here we go. See now they're out of the loop. They have the
now the reporting.
I think what happened was, and being in this business, that crew probably got majorly hurt. So instead of continuous, they just looped this one as they were trying to figure out, and now they've got the on-air anchor on, and they're still doing this loop. But here's the problem, is that this loop creates fear. When you watch this, if you're there, oh my God, they're just, and people don't understand. Now they've got a double looped. And that's why television is about programming. It is about programming your mind to accept the control that we have over you, because we're a small group of people telling a large group of people how to live. And God damn, we're Americans, and excuse me for saying that, but fuck, I'm so tired of this shit where a small group of people can tell me how to live. They can tell me how to bank. They can tell me that, oh, well, I can pull you over because your tail light's out and the city needs money. No, motherfucker, you cannot. Because did you not see the not for hire on my bumper? That means you can't touch me. And let's go deep into the California Penal Code. And that's on page 13. If a vehicle has not for hire, you may not pull them over because of their right of free passage. The Constitution guarantees you right of free passage. It doesn't give to somebody to say, stop, give me your papers, identify who you are. I'm sorry, that was Nazi Germany. Mm-hmm. And we've become complacent to it now that it's because they're not peace officers, they're policy enforcers. And they wear black and they have a gun. And if you use your mind to even question them, they call for backup.
Right. Absolutely. This was something I thought that would be intriguing, because I had seen the interview about when Stanley Kubrick was admitting that he did, the filming of the fake moon landing. And I just thought,
you know why he did that, right?
He wanted to come clean. I mean, he had to. It was
he had a dead man switch on his death that years later he basically exposed them. He was the one that allowed you to find that studio. But why did we do that? There is a recording after the John Glenn does the one step for man, one giant step for mankind, right?
Yes.
After they cut off, he wheeled and I've heard this recording, he wheeled it around and he goes, oh, fucking shit. Look at the size of these ships. There's 12 of them, and they have their guns trained on me. And there are 3 human beings with no spacesuits walking towards me, and they're, oh my God, she's gorgeous. They're blonde, and they don't have a spacesuit on. And those individuals told our government, through him, to not come back. Do not come back. You can fake come in here, but if you come back, we will destroy you. So that was the Galactic Light Federation basically telling us, congratulations for getting here, but don't do it again, because there was something greater they didn't realize at the time. I mean, why do astronauts have their names on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? Why does NASA have the second largest movie studio in the United States? Because NASA, if you look at it, never a straight answer.
That's right.
NASA is the extension of when the Majestic 12 went bad.
Right.
Because they could not allow, they determined that they could not allow you to know that there were spacefaring races, that the knowledge that this planet had been mined and visited by spacefaring races, that you are not the center of the universe, and we're going to keep telling you you are the center of the universe, and say that all of this is poppycock, and what has happened is you have MUFON, the guys that keep all of the stuff. MUFON was really great until a couple years ago. Then they started becoming the guardians of UFO knowledge, and they started branding, well, that's not a UFO. And a couple of those guys left, and they went to Hawaii, and they created Operation Disclosure. And those two guys, if you really want to see some good UFOs, go to them. Another one that I recently found, and I love her to death, is Gina Maria Hill Coven. And she takes the actual feed that we have from our space cameras and uses filters. And by using filters, you can see all the ships. You can see the ship that when they come up to the sun and it sucks plasma off it for fuel, or the giant ship that is sitting off to 11 o'clock of Venus that is just as bright as Venus. I mean, if the listeners here knew the truth about our universe, I mean, look, our Space Force, we have 32 ships. We have 2 giant carrier groups of spaceships that when they open the books on the Federal Reserve and we find out where all that black money went to,
right.
Trump had to boo the Space Force because he knew that they were going to use the day the Earth stood still moment to paralyze us in fear, but he took that away from them. And to know that we have a prison and 5 active bases on the moon with the blessings of the Galactic Light Federation, because the most evil of our species are in prison on the moon. We have 3 bases on Mars. I just watched the video on Mystery History 2, great channel, and it says, who keeps cleaning the Mars rover? The Mars rover has been on that planet for 20 years,
that
right?
Makes sense.
and they go, the rover was in this dust storm, and then they show a picture of the rover 2 days later, and it's clean.
Clean as a whistle.
Clean as a whistle. It's like, did somebody come in there with an air sprayer and go, shh? And it was like, oh my God, that is hilarious. Right. So you and then the one base that I just recently found out is that we have a strategic base on Io that is a communications base for our solar system to the Galactic Light Federation. In 1989, the UN signed a treaty with the Galactic Light Federation to move it into the galactic universe. Okay, so that we become trading partners, and no longer would the draconian race be able to abduct the human, take them to the cabal, and the cabal make money off of them on the galactic slave trade. I mean, when you realize that there are, again, as we said yesterday, there's 18 versions of humans. I mean, Superman, there's a version of a human coming from kryptonite, coming here. The gravity is lighter. Everything is different for him. So he appears to be on our planet to be stronger. Just like when you used to go to the museum exhibits, this is how much you would weigh on the moon if you were on the moon. You could leap because the gravity was so small. So there's always these truths, and being able to put these truths together, like your region, Tennessee, Ohio. There's probably a bunch of mythological stories of giants from your regions, from the Indians that lived there, right?
Yes.
And we do know, if you paid attention to the Smithsonian, prior to 1901, we had exhibits in the Smithsonian of individuals that were pulled out of those serpentine mounds in Ohio. These guys were 16 to 20 foot tall, red hair. I mean, full on staffs, full on spears and shields. And we gladly did it. And then Darwin came out with his theory, and the cabal captured it and went, yes, that's how we're going to control them. And we're going to say it's this. And when you read Darwin after he brought that up, he goes, this is bullshit. What they're doing is bullshit. And you see, I mean, why should you pay for knowledge? Knowledge is free.
Right.
And that's why I always say that my grandfather told me that knowledge is the true power in life. Because if you have an acute knowledge, then you're able to see through people's bullshit, right? And you're one of those people in talking to. I know that your bullshit detector is like mine. It's running full peg on all the crap that's going on.
Well, that's what makes it so challenging too sometimes. I mean, think about it, because I'm just like you, and I'm just like the people that are watching. You know, what the hell do you believe? Okay. But it's a matter of comparing, you know, track records where people are getting information from, or certain outlets are reporting on that's being consistent, and then you got to compare it to 2 to 3, maybe up to 4 legitimate sources.
And that's hard sometimes.
And you're constantly a detective of the news is really what you are.
Yeah, you really are, especially when you follow the military.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm fortunate. I know how to read the military because I will refer to the Marine Corps Times, Navy Times, Army Times, Air Force Times. I'll refer to their websites because the military will tell you that they're going to train for something. And then they do the training, and it's like, okay, now that you've trained for it, now I'm going to wait. I'm going to watch the pieces move into place, like on a game of Risk, moving the pieces into place. And when you watch, and luckily living in San Diego like I do, I get to watch our Navy, and our Navy's amazing. I mean, I've watched a full carrier group, and do you know what consists of a carrier group? Do you know how
everything? But it's a little bit, I would imagine.
So you're talking an aircraft carrier that has 5,000 men and women on it. You're talking at least 3 submarines that has a personnel of 60 to 100 on each ship, right? Now you're talking cruisers and destroyers, supply ships, tanker ships. You're talking of 110 ships in one carrier group. You're talking an equivalent of 25 to 30,000 people in that one group. And I've seen that group come into San Diego, get people on board, off board, because people's their time on the ship it's over with. They're TDY into a new duty, and then you have guys coming on board, and then you have all the supply ships getting resupplied, and the ships themselves are getting supplied. I mean, worked in the freight industry here in San Diego, and I remember when those groups would come in, you just see mad semis just rolling to load those ships up, and to see that done in 24 to 48 hours and watch them book out.
Yep.
You know something's up, because right now the Kitty Hawk is sitting. She's sitting in dock. The USS Hope showed up last night. I don't know why she's here, but I'm definitely going to find out, because when I saw that, I was like, okay, why is she here? When we know that our region of the border is clean.
Right. Something's up. There's no question about it. There's too many things going on. And now you've got, you know, the gas outages on top of it all. You're going to have a lot of Americans that are going to be stressed. You and I both know that this has always been this talk since Q talked about it, the 10 days of darkness. And we've always thought, oh, we're going through it. No, we're not. And I mean, it's actually, now that the more I learn and we see these attacks on gas and electric and all of these different grids, and we talked about the sea and that grid going down, and you know that all of this has to go. It's just like a video game when it goes from a beta version. It's going to be bad. Let's just be honest, okay? It's really, we think that it's bad, and it's not even started. It's going to be bad. Yeah, you know, if you have a home, as somebody that lived in water rationing, and that's something that we're going to see in this country, is we're going to see water rationing for a few days. Make sure that when you clean out your bathtub, do not use chemicals, because that'll get into the water. Because when we were in Japan, we had this bathtub that had these little tiles, and that was our bathtub. It was a tile of little bathtub tiles, and my mom cleaned it with a cleaner. And that first time we filled it up, we actually had to reboil all the water to make it sterile, because the chemicals got into the tile, caused the tile to exude a chemical, which was very hazardous to us. And you don't learn those things until you go through them. And so
if you do it, just soap and water, rinse it out. And then when you know this is coming, fill that bathtub up with water, because my bathtub is 45 gallons. And you've got your toilet basins. We're gonna be put into a position. You're right. It's gonna be bad. And I don't mean to be a fear monger or to scare you. I'm a person that speaks from truth. Right. And fortunately, I've lived and I've seen this in the military. As much as they should be jumping in, they're wanting Americans to feel this pain so that this shit never happens again in our country.
Right.
That the communists are not allowed to take a toehold and get into the office of the president, or should I say an American Nazi get into the office of the president, because the George Bush Sr., the truth about that guy. That guy was really a Nazi.
Oh, and my gosh, man. A wolf in sheep's clothing, bud.
Well, why was that motherfucker in Dallas the day that Kennedy was shot?
Yeah.
But we knew, but we go back to the Q movement starting with Lincoln.
Yeah.
And then Tesla, Marconi, and Trump Sr. restarting it in 1903 and keeping it up and going. And it was watching government. It was a government watchdog. And that's how the Secret Service came into being, was through the Q security detail. Q is your highest top secret rating. When you look at all these things, you go, this has been around for a long time. And now it's all the mainstream media is QAnon. Well, you're an idiot, because I'm anonymous and I happen to watch Q. So you're going to brand me QAnon. You're a smart one, Mr. Wizard. But see, that's that whole programming, is that they need to brand somebody the evil.
Hey, and more rockets. Whoa!
We got a sports a major sports thing. The Oakland A's have just said they're leaving Oakland.
Oh,
they're done with the Oakland City Council. And
that's the darkness right there, buddy. Here we go.
Yep.
Well, listen, I know this. We probably need to go ahead and start wrapping.
Yeah, this was a great day. Thank you so much. I've had a great time.
Man, I'll tell you what, everyone's showing some mad love on here. You can obviously, we're streaming live, guys, right now on several of our
new video. This is new video right here in the lower right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's happening right now. Guys, we're on PPN News-3. We're also on the first one, PPN-1. We're also on, I got so many here I'm looking at, 3, 2, 4. And we're on Twitch, and we also are broadcasting.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw one of the questions. I was like, wow, we're on Twitch. I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to look it up on Twitch.
Yeah, we're on Twitch, and I had 8 other accounts. They blocked me on another one towards the end of our show.
Have you looked into Rumble? You notice that Rumble is just started.
But here's the thing with Rumble.
Do they have an AI?
Yeah. They do. We have our own. We stream.
No, I know that. I'm just saying it. I didn't realize that they had an AI algorithm that was like YouTube. So yeah, no. And it was it's $100 a month to be on their streaming. Did you read all into that? Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, $100 a month to do live streaming on your, and there was no mention of actually monetizing you. So you're paying them.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. What I like about it is we just build it and we roll with it, and more people are finding out about it. We don't have to worry about any of that. We don't have to worry about being shut down. I mean, if we get shut down on a YouTube channel, the beautiful thing about that is everybody can go to the website and obviously see you, see me, see whoever is, recording.
What about Gab TV? I don't know much about Gab TV.
So Gab TV is a good one. What I've heard from everyone in terms of the streaming and a lot of tech issues. I don't know. I haven't done it yet. We've looked into it, but you know what? This is what's going to happen. There's going to come a time and a place where some patriots are going to have to put their flipping flag in the ground and say, you know what? You can jump from this social media platform to here. I'm tired of running, and guys, I'm a big boy. I don't run. I fight. Okay, so that's why we did this. We want to build it.
You and I are protectors. Yeah, that's
absolutely. And so it is what it is.
Like
but Spectre, I would love the opportunity for you to come back on. Everyone has really enjoyed you. I've actually got a meeting right after this that I've got to take, but I'm going to call you here shortly, and we're going to talk about what we're talking about before, if that's okay.
Yeah, just call me through this, and we'll just do the video link. It's much easier. Thank you, everybody. I like I said, I don't get to see the chat, so I'm going to figure that out the next time we talk, because I like reading the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt. There's a lot of good questions here. Thanks again. Appreciate you, Spectre.
By all means, you have a great day, everybody. Stay blessed.
See ya. All right, guys. So go ahead and get geared up for tonight. Spectre did a great job. I'm excited to what he's going to be bringing to the table, and I'm excited about our conversation we're going to be having shortly. Lots of things are happening. Does Spectre have a show? Yeah, here now. There you go. But guys, if you're not already on patriotshoot.com, go there. If you can't find us on YouTube or Twitch, always go to patriotpartynews.com. Things are off and popping, no doubt about it. So with that being said, gang, I will see you tonight, 7 p.m. Central. Be there or be square.